And also, I hated to be up on stage speaking.
Right, in front of people.
And then when I got into bodybuilding, they were like, okay, tell us how you won in a pair of posing trunks, you know? So I think I've gone through the stages of, you know, they say visualize everybody naked on the stage.
Yeah.
Well, I was fucking naked on the stage in a pair of posing trunks.
Yeah.
So I don't think it gets worse than that, right?
I keep saying I'll start on Monday, and Monday never comes. I go on a holiday soon, and I really want a bigger bum and a smaller waist. Can you help?
Look, if you wanna come gym, make sure you put the work in. Some wanna get fit, some wanna get slim, some wanna start competing, but enough of them just can't stop cheating. When their belly is full, they're still eating. Me, I practice what I'm teaching. They don't live what they're preaching. It's a lifestyle.
What's up, Fit Fam? This is Giovanni of Gio's Logic, your host of Fitness Junkies. I hope this show meets you in good health and spirits, and if not, I hope it inspires you to do something about it. Well, I am beside myself here, sitting here next to this gentleman. But before we meet him, let's get a little clip from his 2023.
And with that, the 2023.
That's right, Fitness Junkies. I'm sitting next to the legend, Flex Lewis. What's up, brother?
What's up? It's great to be here. Although early, whose idea was it to do this podcast first things foremost?
Don't look at me.
Oh my God, I think both you and I are on the coffee. We're looking hard that cup.
Yeah.
But it's an honor to be here. I know it's been a long time in the making. Thank you
Yes.
very much, guys,
Yeah.
for your patience and for getting me on the show. It's
And
great.
it works out. It's my 100th episode.
Just so works out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
good.
That is a milestone, and I'm again even more so honored to be on the 100th episode. What a milestone!
Yeah,
100
dude.
episodes.
Dude, and I really have to thank the other gentleman sitting next to you, John Orlando, best friend for over 30 years. This dude had a dream, and we're living it. And John, I just want to thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
grateful for this. It's
crazy, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think 100 shows. It's like when you start, you know what it's like when you just have ideas and they're just ideas, and then the grind to take it from a concept to doing the first one, you know, and then keep going and struggle through all the nonsense. And there's so much nonsense.
So much. You know, yeah, as now a podcast host myself.
Yeah.
To think of 100 again is a milestone, right? It's incredible. But every guest has preparation.
Yeah.
Every guest comes with its own set of stress, and yeah, so I understand. And then you throw in the nonsense, as you said, in between all that, which has nothing to do with the podcast. It's just
Right.
you know, part of everything. But again, pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Obviously, myself and you, John, get
Yeah.
to see each other quite a lot at various different events.
Yeah.
When's the last time we've seen each other, actually?
A fight or power slap or a fight.
Yeah,
I
it's
just don't
always-
remember when it was.
Yeah, it's just one of them. They all blend into each other.
Yeah.
But
Are you going this weekend? Saturday? It's morning. It's morning. It's 10 a.m. prelims.
Okay, well, that's actually works in my favor then. So maybe
Okay.
so. Maybe
All
so.
right.
I might
All right.
see you there then. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great. But you and I haven't seen each other for a minute, though.
Yeah, it was at a fight, I think, as well. It was
Probably.
at, the
T-Mobile.
Apex.
Oh, was it
Yeah.
the Apex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Dana who's been connecting us all because we met.
The best.
We met through
Meltzer.
Meltzer.
David
That's right.
Meltzer.
We have so many mutual
Yeah.
friends and all these guys that are not connected, obviously, somewhere. We're only
Yeah.
one or two steps away from one another, right?
It's amazing how great those guys are, the Danas and the Meltzers, about connecting people, and like they don't need to be bothered with this stuff with us, and hooking up dinners and
Well, that's where I want to kind of
Yeah.
jump in because you don't have to do this. I mean, you're kind of doing this to kind of like help a brother out, like
Yeah.
you're
to do this episode. You mean?
well to do
Yeah,
this episode
right.
or to do a show that
Any of
maybe-
our stuff.
I mean, the guests that he has on
Right.
are, big time.
Right.
And I just really appreciate that. And I like the mindset of wanting to help another person that you really don't know. I mean, what's that about?
I truly love helping people, but also just to pick up on something you said, for me, I very selectively don't do many podcasts. The podcasts that I do, obviously, normally I have some sort of relationship with, and I've seen what you guys have been doing, and you've been killing it. And that's not me blowing smoke. Obviously, I've got to know John more personally now over the last couple of years of moving here and seeing what he's done and what he's doing. I don't know, obviously, not to talk your talk, but
No, yeah.
it's amazing to see just, as you mentioned, the idea evolution, concept now and taking it into a further evolution.
Yes.
And truly, that's one of the reasons why I like to help people. Not that I'm saying this is the help here, but
Yeah, no, you are.
oh no.
No, I'm saying we're telling you, you're helping. Yeah.
I'll say thank you, but I don't accept it. But I think that for myself in the shoes that I've been in, because I came to this country and I knew one person, I truly had to find out things and figure things out myself for the longest of time. And I'm one of them guys that really doesn't like, even to this day, like asking for stuff.
Yeah.
So I love giving and I love giving back, but also now I'm very selective of that because all of us can attest in this room that we've given time to many people that hasn't been reciprocated.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, when you guys give me the opportunity to jump on your, yes, we've had scheduled dates, me being out the country and whatever else, but again, we were going to nail it down. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And also, you guys are on my ass about getting it, which is the best way.
Right. I was
Yeah.
going to start stalking you next.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's up to you.
Well, we all go to the same haunts, right?
Yeah,
So we're going to see each other eventually. But it's great to be here, like I said. And I don't know what the question was. What? Just the mindset? Is that
Just
the question?
helping a brother out, picking a brother up, because you're so busy. It's like, and you're selective, but you make relationships, and even though you don't know me, you're like, he's putting in the work. Let me see what I can do for him.
Anybody who's affiliated with him, I love. He's very selective from what I see that, the people that you have around him. And again, we've got so many mutual friends, right?
Yeah.
They all speak so highly. Again, it's like in life, you can do all these things, but what people say about you when you're not in that room.
That's the
right?
truth.
Right.
And that's my goal in life now is to collectively make good and meet good people that I can bring value to as much as they bring value to my life too. It's a reciprocated two-way street, it's not a one-way street. And again, this is one of the reasons why I've been to this studio many occasions now because of the relationship I have with him and what everybody says about John, behind the scenes. I won't tell you all the bad stuff, just the good stuff. No, nothing but good. But again, it just goes as a testament, and you just said, beginning of the show, 30-year relationship too. Look
Yeah.
how many people that have come and gone in that 30 years.
Yeah.
And you guys have still stayed true to one another. And I said, when you were off the room, I said, that's 30 years of good blackmail. Give me some stories, against John.
Yeah.
He knows I got him.
Anyways, yeah.
34 years this year, but who's counting?
Right.
Yeah.
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I spoke a little bit earlier before the show started. I think your superpower is your mindset, your mind. I tell all my clients that the way to sustain body composition change is a mental game. I always ask people, what's their fitness journey? I want to ask you, how did you build a mindset that was able to win, I think, over 20 first place champion bodybuilding shows and 7 Olympia 212-pound wins in a row.
So
In a row.
Again, you are in the upper percentile of mindset in your craft, and that doesn't. You don't flip a switch. You build that over the years. How did you do that?
good question. It's deep rooted, coming from very humble upbringings. You know, blue collar town. My dad was in steel. My grandfather's in mining. Again, it's just as blue collar as you can get. So seeing how my parents really struggled and put us kids first. Obviously, you appreciate it much more when you're older, right? But when you're living in the moment, you kind of see things that maybe other kids are having that you don't have. And I just realized soon enough that if I wanted something, I had to go out and earn it and save for it or work for it. Soon enough. Again, my dad worked what's called continental shifts. One day he would do mornings. 1 week he would do mornings. 1 week he would do afternoons. Another week he would do nights. Oh. And just see my dad, just his body clock all over. Yet he would never miss a rugby game, even if he'd come straight from work. Yes.
Wow.
So just seeing that and just having very supportive parents. My mum was a nurse. Unfortunately, she was made disabled. So seeing that too, and the struggles that my mum had, pain and you know, trying to hide the pain from us kids, planted that seed in my head from a very young age. So that, I call it like power by trauma, right? Everybody's got trauma. But whether you allow that to seep into you for the negative reasons or fuel you for the positive, that's one. So I've got many different compartments that I pulled from.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the entrepreneurial spirit came from a very young age. I probably had my first
Lemonade stand?
business. Yeah, but I was selling. I know we spoke about it on your podcast, John. Finches. I started buying and selling finches, and making that money that I made from the finches, then I would buy whatever I wanted to. You know, I normally actually put it back into the birds. So I ended up having a lot of birds, making a lot of money for a little, 15-year-old, and
Right.
yeah. So that was my first entrepreneurial mindset too.
Right.
Accompanying that then with all the sports that I was doing, truly created this this savage mindset. I'm very competitive. Grew up, again, not knowing that until later on, but
Right.
always wanted to win. Hated when I lost. But also that home my sword too. Learning to lose in good grace,
Right.
and learning to win in good grace too.
Right.
So all these characteristics I built well before I even stepped on a bodybuilding stage, and I all learned from rugby and track and field and boxing and gymnastics, various different sports that I'd done. And later on in life too, not so much past that point, I'm sorry, about 17. First week in college, they found out that I was dyslexic, ADHD, all these terms and acronyms that are against your name now. But also it assured me something that my teachers told me in school that I wasn't. And we called this a lot. I was called stupid a lot. So going to college and finding out that, man, okay, I have something, I'm not stupid. And I used that in school to power me through all the sports. Sports was my forte. I'd go into, I'd bunk off classes and I'd go into the sports hall, and my PE teachers knew I was there. But they also turned a blind eye because I was a very good student for them. Now, I probably pushed back in all the subjects that, I was called stupid in, for obvious reasons. Right. But every subject that the teacher actually gave time to or taught me a different way, there's a respect factor that was grown. So even all these little lessons I learned from a very young age, again, what you put in, you get out. If you want to earn respect, you gotta put in the work to get that respect.
Right.
So again, all these little lessons I learned way before I stepped on a bodybuilding stage. But also that a bigger lesson was once I found out, going back to my first week in college, and finding out obviously I had dyslexia, some sort of learning disability, because I went to a public school. It was rough. Right. That I was like, okay, I can really do anything I want if I put my mind to it and enjoy it. So I started my first business up in college, and I grew that exponentially to the point where I won 3 Young Businessman of the Year awards. And then at the same time, I started bodybuilding. So I used the business and the bodybuilding to promote my then business. Kind of like, who do you want to turn up at your house? These guys and everybody who work for me are all clean shaved, all big guys. They all look like they were strong, Or these other guys who were turning up, looking in shape. Actually, we had uniforms. We went the full shebang, But again, it taught me that even in my business, speaking to people, understanding what they truly wanted, even if they didn't communicate it, I would actually say, okay, listen, if you don't like this, here, this sofa here, we can move wherever you want. Talking to people, which then that communication transcended into how you talk to your fans. Because some of these fans will line up for you for 2 hours. Right. When they have the chance to speak to you, it's like, hey, mate, you know, take it from the fans that they're saying and make it about them. So they're coming in, they don't know what to say. They've stood in line for all this time, it's like they go brain dead.
Yeah.
Right? But then that communication that I learned from being in business at a very young age allowed me and allowed me to express whatever they wanted to say and get that best experience with that, you know, maybe the first opportunity and the last opportunity they'll have with me, but make it memorable.
Right.
I'm going off the point here.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So the ability to be, I would say, a humble maverick in your sport is great. But I want to really kind of look into it. Like, can you teach that, or is it something innate in you? Is it a blessing from God, or whatever you believe in? Like, can you teach what you've learned?
Humility.
Well, no, just everything. The mindset power, the drive.
The humility side of things, I think, is a lesson that some people who have gone through their sport and, probably, names mentioned, but we can all attest to certain people after the sport is done and they're kind of not on top of the throne anymore and trying to act the way they were acting whilst they were on top. Obviously, the fan base is there. They want to see the number one or whoever it is that they're cheering for. But when you're done and dusted, they expect that same type of allure. Mm-hmm. But if you treated your fans a certain style for a decade, less, whatever you've been in that professional sport, whatever it is, bodybuilding aside, don't expect that fan base to stay loyal to you because now you're a mere mortal that's achieved something in the past.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you are able to hone that craft, be humble, be on top, and not forget where you've come from also. Yes, understand that. Have you changed from when you were back in Wales? Yes. My friends will say I haven't changed much at all. The only thing I have changed is become more confident. But I still remember where I've come from. I still remember my struggles. And kind of to answer your question, can it be taught? Yes. There's a lot of characteristics that I feel sort of the young guys that are looking up at various different sporting athletes. Again, if we just look at basketball, right? You see all these young kids that are hanging over the tunnel. All they want to do is just get a hand slap from their favorite pro.
Yeah.
Bro, reach up and slap that kid's hand.
Right.
And I think to myself, when you're walking in the tunnel, you were one of them kids at one point in time, screaming for your favorite, basketball star, whoever, football, whatever it is. Touch that kid's hand, sign something.
Right.
But just don't walk in the tunnel because one day it's all going to end.
Yep.
And you wish that you did slap more kids' hands. And I was always present in my interaction with fans. Now, on stage, I turned into that alter ego, and there was a switch. On stage.
In competition.
Because I had to create that guy.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the humble flex wouldn't be able to go out there and battle the best of the best. There's like this alter ego. Flex Lewis is an alter ego. It's also Flex Lewis is who you see right now. Mm-hmm. But there's a different guy. And that all started kind of to take it into another kind of conversation when I shaved my face the week of the Olympia.
Really?
Yeah. It's a process.
The first one?
Every show I've ever done.
Oh, wow.
So if you see all my shows that I've ever competed, I've shaved my beard down to a little, you call it chin strap.
Yeah, I was looking online earlier and I saw a picture of you. I'm like, who's this dude? Who is
this guy? I know. A lot of people.
What made you do that?
Good question. I think I'm very superstitious. And not to kind of shoot myself in the foot, but I've got a pair of underwear that I've kept since my very first fucking amateur days.
Really?
Yes, and they would follow me. No, I wouldn't wear them. Again, I'm not gonna. Fuck it, I'll tell you. I got a pair of luminous pants. They were like white fronts, bright yellow, luminous yellow, and I had these from the very first show. Now I put these on. I think I was competing in the Mr. Universe. I put them on to tanning because they were like, they're luminous. Who wears luminous fucking white fronts, right? So if I got tanning them, I got tanning them. And I won the show. I was like, okay, I'll tan them again. Then I turned pro. I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. Even probably there isn't. But I really have these small little superstitions. And the shaving of the beard became part of it.
That's cool.
So it was a transition. You go back, whatever sport you guys have played. In the changing room for rugby, we have our own superstitions. Whether you put one sock on and tape that sock first and then put the other one on. There's so many different ones. Whatever that is to you.
Yeah.
In football, obviously, you put, the stripes under your eyes, whatever they're called. I'm not from the US. But
eye black, I think.
Yeah, eye black. Yeah.
Well, that's my eye black.
Huh.
Shaving off the beard, it would be okay. And as soon as I shave my face, I wouldn't look at my eyeballs. I'm looking at my chin. I'm looking at what I'm doing. And then after I've shaved, I would look up, be like, who is this guy? And I even got chills now thinking of it because there was such a process. I would look at myself. And then the very next morning, I remember looking at myself because obviously at that point in time, you're changing every day, getting close to the Olympia. And what I'd see in the mirror, I'd be like, move my hand. I was like, oh my God, this is my body. Have you ever been in that moment where it's like you've woken up and it's like, wow, such a change. I know you've just had a massive change.
Yeah.
But it's just shocking for me that I live in this body, but then it can change so fast in that particular time period.
Yeah.
And with the shaved face, I'm like, wow, okay. And then you start getting into the groove, and then everything starts piling in because obviously I was the champion. I came with much more media obligations. So there was always people either coming in or I had to be at certain places, a certain time for media. And all that process, when you start talking about the show,
right,
it starts like, subconsciously getting into the mind and like, okay, yeah, I'm here. This is business. I'm here to win. There's a certain conversation that comes out of my mouth that wouldn't happen a week prior.
Wow.
But again, I try to do it with class and humility. But again, listen, everybody on that stage is trying to win.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody on that stage has gone through their own ups and downs to be there, whatever their motivations are to win, they're in that show, as are mine. And it's just who done all the unseen work, not for Instagram, not for fucking any other reason, but for winning the show.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with this day and age, not to go all over the place, but social media is such now a big critical tool of people's preparations that they're actually not preparing as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So as I came from the old school magazine era, and the social media kind of combined at the tail end of, at the beginning of my career, but the tail end of magazines kind of going out. I had the best of both worlds, I felt. The apprenticeship of being in magazines and just training for their magazine shoots and turning up on stage, to then having to be the puppet on Instagram.
Right.
And I truly, I stood by my morals, and I was always covered up. You'd never see me be in a tank top or, whatever it would be. It would always be in a shirt that was, at the time, between 3 and 4XL. And the only time that I really showed what I looked like was 4 weeks out.
Wow. And
I would show a 6-week out photo 4 weeks out.
Was that so everyone that you're competing against could see what they're going to deal with kind of thing?
It's all mind games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you see everybody coming. It's like, oh yeah, the new day and age, you got the Nick Walkers, obviously he's a local, and Regan Grimes. These guys post because they have to, maybe by contract, quite a lot. So you see them posting at least once a week, most musculars, front double biceps. You know what's coming. And there's no disrespect. This is the day and age we're in. Mm-hmm. I hid away from all that because even for myself, I wanted to. I love the old school. Dorian Yates used to just come out of nowhere, hide away. He was obviously called the Shadow for that reason. And when he emerged from his cocoon, you'd have such incredible improvements.
Right.
And as it was the magazine era, they would put these, they would get sent photos to Joe Weider's office, and then they would put that, polarized, whatever, or I don't know how they got it, whether it's the original or not, but they put it into the magazine. And then by the time that these guys that were standing against Dorian back then, would get this, it may be like 2 or 3 weeks out from the Olympia, and they were like, holy shit. So then they would just go ballistic. So for me, I posted these photos truly to play mind games. And then the next time I would do something would be probably like 2 weeks out, and I'm ready. Right. So all these guys would start doing drastic things. Because they're like, oh my God, I don't look like this.
Right.
I need to drop my carbs or whatever these guys do. But we always had a game plan, and that was to be ready 2 weeks out. So my prep was always hellish, but I never, got on Instagram to complain. I never talked about, oh my God, I'm struggling today. I put a lot of content out when, that era became social media. But yet that content wasn't me showing myself off.
So you'd be ready 2 weeks out and then stay like stage ready for 2 weeks?
John, I could have stepped on stage the last 3 years, probably about 4 weeks out.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? Like, I mean, obviously I'm not as connected into it as you guys are, but that just sounds like
hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was 226 stage ready. And I'd look at myself and was like, where is this 14 pounds coming from?
Right, where are we going to lose it?
Where's this 14 pounds coming from? But then, thankfully, obviously, I've got my coach, Neil Hill, who's been with me now 20 years. And, he would just be calm as a cucumber. No, what was going on behind the scenes in his head was another thing. But he'd be like, just stick to the plan, flex. And then he would give me cheat days 4 weeks out.
Wow.
To stimulate, the metabolism.
Yeah.
But again, thinking about eating a cheat day when you're like 226.
Right.
Needing to get down to 212.
And in 4 weeks' time.
Talk about mental game. That's right.
But again, you got to believe in the coach. You got to believe in your own abilities to put in the work. And as the coach has to believe in your abilities to put in the work too. That's why I said earlier in the show, I'm a very coachable person. The respect obviously is there with myself and my coach. But again, if he told me, okay, Flex, we're going 0 carbs for the next week. Okay, coach, no problem. I wouldn't cheat. I can tell you now, wholeheartedly in both your eyes, I've not missed a day of cardio, not missed a day of training, not eaten much. Probably I would try and eat under than never over what he would give me. Wow. I loved punishment for some reason. I loved being in, and I miss that actually. I do miss that. I do miss being in this calorie deficit when I'm dragging ass and I'm demanding the best version of myself every single day. Because you can't look, in bodybuilding, as you know, you can't look at the end of the week because that is a daunting factor. Thinking, oh my gosh, it just can't wait to get to the week because of a cheat meal or whatever else. Right. You just got to attack day by day. So I'd get up some mornings and I would sit on this ledge when I was living in Coconut Creek, Florida. I'd sit on a ledge where my fireplace was, and I'd talk to myself like, okay, let's go. I was exhausted. Even the thought of standing up was daunting. But as soon as I started moving and grooving, I'd get a couple of words of affirmation in my head, pep talk to myself. And even if my wife said something to me on that morning, like, all right, babe, let's go. Come on, let's go, kind of thing. Right. All I needed, and I was out the door. And once I'm moving and grooving, I would use my cardio, which was always outside in Florida, to mentally talk to myself, prepare for the day, prepare for the training session, and just, get into everything. No, you've got all these other negative things that are coming in. You've got all these stresses that are part of it, whether it's media, whatever it is. But you have to home that out because your goal and your dream is to become Mr. Olympia. And if you've already attained it, as I did, it was trying to home in the best version and become better version of all the other ones prior. Right. So it's truly recreating your why every year.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was going to ask you does the pressure year by year, like when you're at 3 in a row, and I'm sure all the media leading up to it is like, can you do it again? Can you do it again? You had to have that talk 7 times. Huge. And each time it just gets crazier, right?
Yeah. And every year, the first 3, believe it or not, I felt a tremendous amount of support. And every year there's been a different way. But then from 4 until 7, I felt that there was always like an added bonus. There was always a new guy that was going to come and beat me. There was always another guy who I always felt was more promoted. So it's like, oh, what are they going to do here? They're going to try and pay,
because they need that, right? They need
good ticket sales, John.
Right.
to have a new champion.
Right.
And then
can he fall? It's like Floyd Mayweather, right? Like people are watching to see him lose finally.
Yes. And I tried not to be Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
As much as I respect him, because he obviously goes about it in a different way. It's like one of them, you love him or hate him. I love Floyd and what he's achieved and everything else. I love his brand. But for me, I'm completely different. So I didn't want to give, because again, listen, boxing is, it can go to the judges. But there's knockout results in bodybuilding. It's all judging.
Right.
So making sure that I done everything I did politically throughout that year, guest posings, fan interactions, because all you need is a bad hype, and then you just don't want to think that adds to the judging.
Yeah.
So that was always in the back of my mind, is always make sure that you're the utmost professional in any scenario. Whatever you're around the world, you want to make sure that them promoters that you've guest posed for or done appearances for, again, talk about you when you're not in the room.
Right.
And all these promoters are all connected to the top of the tree, so they all get a year, good, bad, and ugly. So I made sure, to my potential, that I made sure that I left an impact, not just with the promoters, but every interaction I had with the fans. So
that's so interesting, because you're talking about, like, these are all humans, these judges. And they, just like with any other relationship in life, there's a way people feel. There's that you have to also address when you get to that level. And people don't realize that that's a whole nother layer of this.
yeah, there is.
Yeah, for sure. Because they can just decide to hate on you, right?
They're humans.
Right.
They're all human.
Right.
We're all humans. And there's certain things that humans react to.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and a lot of these judges are also promoters.
Right.
So some of these athletes that are on stage against me or in other classes have actually been to these people's shows.
Right.
And whether they have a good interaction with the promoter, they might have left a bad reputation with the fans there. So all this stuff, whether it plays a part or not, I didn't want to allow that to become the part.
Right.
And to kind of land the plane, it was every year I felt like there was a new guy that was being hyped. Obviously, there's it's good news to see a Mr. USA come and do well at the Mr. Olympia, right? I never, as the time went on, I never heard the accent that came out of my mouth. I truly felt that I was adopted by Americans. And obviously, it's my home now and has been since I came here at 23, moved here at 25, now 40. So I've spent, coming up to nearly half my life in the United States. So I felt that I got to know and understand the dynamic here in the United States. And yes, it's very competitive. It's good ticket sales to have another champion. But for me, I never thought that I was going to lose in any one of them 7 title defenses unless it came down to me not turning up in the best version of myself. Every year, as I said, they put another guy there. And every year I was like, okay, let's just add that to the feather in the hat of why I'm not allowing this person to take this title away from me. So 6 was going to be my number. And unfortunately, didn't end up being that way. I was going to make the announcement on stage, and that year was a crazy year. Dallas McCarver passed away, 3 weeks before the show, and then a week on top of that, we had a massive hurricane that came into Florida and was coming right towards us. We thought we were going to lose the house and everything. It diverted up, but we all moved to Vegas. So we were in Vegas for camp for just over 2 weeks. I had a newborn, trying to juggle the newborn, all the toys. It was a lot of there was all the storylines added on top of that. And then the Olympia itself was very taxing because everybody was there to mourn Dallas. So I had to be autopilot. And I didn't really have the chance to mourn Dallas's death really until way after. And I honestly didn't even know if I was going to come back to the stage. And then that 7, when I traveled to Germany, which is the biggest fitness expo in the world, FIBO, I got to see the fans for the first time since Dallas's passing and just hear how then everybody had kind of processed that and then turned their attention via what happened to me. And they were like, oh, we can't wait to see you on that stage. Whatever the scenario was and the conversation was, all I heard was, get back on that stage and finish it how Dallas would be proud of you to finish it, but also why I started this selfishly in the beginning, and that was to become the best. And had not all these situations happened, I probably wouldn't have been able to sit back now and tell you guys truly that I processed that show. I was in the moment. I felt everything. Sensory overload. Every other show I've ever done, I can't remember because I was the alter ego.
Wow.
I was so zoned in. I was so focused. And even when I won the show, you know, you get your hand lifted up, your family's backstage. I remember elements of that in every show. But then I was always thinking, okay, tomorrow morning I've got to get up at this time because I got to get my weight back down. So it was receive the trophy, congratulations, okay, I've done it. Okay, tomorrow, cardio. Next week, career.
Wow.
And it was always. But
the next day, cardio?
I started thinking, I was thinking about cardio at my after party. And the only reason I was at the after party is because I had to be at the after party.
Right.
But yeah, it was just a different machine. That mindset was locked and loaded.
And then you retired after 7?
I retired. I actually, my plan was to go up into the open class. I wanted to become the first ever champ. Conor McGregor is somebody I love.
Me too.
I love Conor. I know there's conflicting, you know, thoughts about Conor.
I'm ride or die with Conor.
I've got a big, in my office. Have you been in my office?
Yeah.
I've got a big painting
Yeah.
given to me by a very good artist, Adam. He drew that Conor McGregor for me, and it's in my office. I look like such a fanboy in there. But for me, I don't really have many people where I can say, wow, like I truly admire what you've done. But because Conor has such a similar upbringing to me,
right,
coming from the area he's been to, and again, rough, but that self-belief.
Have you met him?
You know what? We've
I've
been
never met him.
sponsored by the same companies, and we've always been two passing ships.
Yeah.
And I know all his training partners,
Yeah.
and this is before I came to Vegas. We got the same, same friends, but I'm sure we're obviously I think he's aware of me, but I mean, he's been tagged in every freaking post. It's like there's so many photos, people calling me Conor McGregor.
Right.
In fact, people think I'm Conor McGregor everywhere I go, especially when Conor put that weight on.
Right.
Oh my gosh, people come up to me at the airports like, are you? No, I don't know if they think it's fucking me or they think it's from like. In the end, they say I take photos of somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, Conor, I can't wait for you next." I was like, "Yeah, I know."
That's so funny.
And then some people, I've assumed they think I'm Conor McGregor, and I'm like, "No, I'm not Conor." They're like, "I didn't think you were Conor. Nice to meet you, Flex." I'm like, "Oh shit, sorry." But going off the point, but Conor was and still is a massive inspiration, and I wanted to become the first ever champ. And I've always had issues with food. I hate food. In fact, now is the first time in my whole life that I've truly started enjoying food for the first time. I can taste food.
Wow.
So, and that's another subject we can talk about, but
It all goes back to mindset.
yeah, moving
right?
back. Well, this is where it goes, John. Moving from the 212 class where I truly had to eat fucking bird food. Excuse me, I know I'm swearing.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Then going into the open class where it's all about as much food as you can get in you. I was blending 3 to 4 meals a day. Oh my God. And I was throwing up and stomach issues, but I wanted it so bad just to prove to myself I can do it. And I held in this horrible pattern of going up and trying to put weight on. I was 260 at my biggest and lean. And I can give you some photos. But at that weight, I still felt athletic. I still kept myself nimble. But I realized that what I got into bodybuilding for was the beauty of bodybuilding, the art of bodybuilding. And I didn't want to destroy my physique just by being big on stage.
Nice, yeah.
So I tried to do it in a very calculated way where even though I was struggling with my food, I still didn't ruin my physique. But in the end, it was really a call from my wife because she seen me struggling so much. And there's only so many times that I can mourn to her about being sick over like a period of time, a long period, or maybe a year and a half.
Right.
And she said, that's enough. That's enough because you're not going to see the best version of you because your body's telling you something.
Yeah.
And I hired all these gut specialists. I mean, I spent a small fortune trying to become Mr. Olympia, double champ.
Right.
And nobody could give me answers. Everybody had an idea. Oh, take this, take charcoal. Go and see this. Take that. You need to do this. I mean, listen, I done everything. And that's one of the reasons when I made the call.
Yeah.
It wasn't injury. It wasn't a coach. even though my wife said what she said,
Yeah.
that was a long time until I made the decision. I mean, probably like 10 months later.
Oh, okay.
That I said, you know, I've done everything in my power. I thought it was God testing me. But now I come to find out that God was telling me that there's much more out there to chase.
Yeah.
And I'm wholeheartedly okay about it. At first, it kind of a little bit haunted me because obviously I've had this goal and this dream and I manifested it. I visualized it. But after 2 years of trying for it and just trying to put food down, I realized there's something else. And maybe the legacy is just what I've already achieved, but there's a bigger legacy out there for me to now go and hunt and chase down. And that's where I'm at right now.
You, I was thinking earlier, are you familiar with Mount Rushmore here in the United States?
Absolutely.
I feel you're on the Mount Rushmore of bodybuilding.
My man.
I'm going to go Arnold, Lee Haney, you. I'm not sure who number 4 is.
Oh, who cares who number 4? I made the mix. Who cares? I'll take 2 spots.
I'm going to say Jay, maybe. He's
Jay's a
got
good
4,
one.
right?
Yeah, Jay's a good one.
So
Ronnie Coleman I'd throw in the mix.
It's
Okay.
one of those two, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
yeah.
But again, it's who
Put
you
5 of them
had.
out there.
Yeah. It's who you had that not just inspired you, right? But brought something out of you that maybe you didn't know you had. So that Mount Rushmore differs from people to people. You might see the odd 1 or 2 people in there, but my Mount Rushmore is going to be different to yours. John, your Mount Rushmore is going to be different. And it goes in every sports. It's whatever era you watched that sport in and whoever made that impact for you in your life at that point in time.
Agreed. But if you ever go to a UFC fight and you see this guy walk through the crowd, you're 100% right. Like it's obvious because everyone knows who you are. When we are at the Apex or I see you at T-Mobile sometimes, you don't even know I'm watching you as you come in and I see the people like start and like they tap the guy next to him and they start pointing and it's not because they think you're Conor McGregor. They know who you are. I knew what you were going to say. No, they know exactly who you are. And they yell his name.
Right. And
It's my mother. She's in the crowd. Thank you though, John.
Yeah.
But my point about the Mount Rushmore is those people, those humans that have figured out the mental drive, the nutrition, the way they put together their team, because you're not doing this by yourself.
Absolutely.
To do it so many times in a row, all those guys are multiple victories in a row in Olympia. That's just like another chink up. And you guys have something in common. And what do you think it is? I guess it could be different for each, but...
Different to each. But what I'm finding on my podcast, trauma.
Oh, wow.
I'm finding out that there's this reoccurring word or reoccurring element to everybody who's successful, whatever sport they're in. And there's some sort of powered by trauma.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Interesting.
And that has nothing to do with... And here's another thing, just to elaborate. My coach way back used to say, have you seen who so-and-so looks like? Have you seen what this guy looks like? And in the end, I had to tell my coaches, like, hey, listen, I'm not motivated by whoever looks like whatever.
Wow, okay.
And he would use that tool because Coach Neil is probably the only guy that could speak to me the way he does. And I allow that to happen because he's my coach.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have this incredible dynamic and relationship, and answer your question where I'm going with this, where he would put coach hat on, and then as soon as the show was over, not straight away because, you know, again, he has to get it out of his system, but we're back to the 20-year relationship.
Yeah.
So he would always pre-warn me and say, okay, Monday, I'm putting that coach hat on, and come Monday, he's blowing me up and talking to me completely different. So there was this time period where I would get used to it, and fight it, before I got used to it. And even though every year we've done the same thing, that coach hat on really got into my head. And he knows really how to get him into my head. And it's not, again, by motivating by what these other athletes would look like and who's standing there and who's going to be there. We found out that and discovered that very, very, very early on in us working together from the amateur days. So he would say things to me. I don't know if, yeah, fuck it, I'll say. He would kind of say to me, like, you're doing this for your parents. You're better in your life. And that would get me going.
Nice.
That would get me going. And then you just tap into all that stuff. You start going into, you know, your childhood, and you start thinking about people that told you you're not going to do it and whatever it is. So going back to my answer, trauma for me, again, I had a fantastic childhood. My parents are amazing. But what we didn't have, you know, again, there was a struggle. You know, I see my parents, we have these tokens in the UK where you have to put money on a token to put electricity in. That went off many times.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, my parents are like trying to put money together to go up to the local shop to put money on a token, then put the meter on for us kids to you know, have, you know, the computer back or whatever else. And I was like, at a very young age, I remember I was like, I'm going to change my family's life here. And really, yes, was it about chasing titles and stuff? Yeah, of course, that's a cool part of it. That's the bonus. But being able to pay my parents' mortgage off was just as cool as one of them Olympia trophies, and being able to give back and see, you know, my family do better too. My brother now is in the United States, and he'll tell you, if it wasn't for me coming here and doing what I've done, he probably wouldn't have jumped on that plane and followed his goal. And now he's one of the best strength and conditioning guys. He was working with American Top Team, worked with Ponnier, Joanna, all the greats during that time. Yeah. And now he's a strength and conditioning coach for Chicago Cubs rugby team and a coach. So, but again, that's my brother has the same upbringing as me, right? Small town mentality, keep you there. Everybody complains, everybody wants better, but nobody wants to do anything about it. But once you have that mindset of, okay, I am going to control my narrative here. I'm going to seize my day, and I'm going to better myself. Instead of looking over the garden fence, oh, that must be nice. Ooh, fucking cool. You come from money, or nice car, or he's changed, whatever else. That's the cop-out conversation that you have when somebody is successful and they've earned it, but then they always want to find the weak chain by saying, oh, you only done it because of this.
Right.
And I had it, you know, myself. So, yeah, with that mentality, I remember being around a lot of people back then that had that mentality. And I was like, why? Why? We can all drive that car. We can all get that big house.
Right.
We can all get that hot chick.
Right. Abundance.
And when I came to the United States, I truly was around a completely different mentality and around different athletes. And then I was like, wow, you think like I think, but on a much bigger scale. And when you're around guys who are moving and grooving and doing different things and always into stuff or looking for opportunities and investing and stuff, way outside what I was doing in bodybuilding, just outside, that naturally would find itself into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But again, you just got to have a circle of people who are driven and aggressive on what they want and have no non-compromises. You know, again, everybody has the excuse to hit that alarm button in the morning. I mean, we all made it early this morning, right? Yeah. Granted, I've already gone through my coffee. But again, there's a demand to be better, and I learned so much from my bodybuilding era that no book I could read, no motivational speaker could ever teach me. But now, yes, are they a part of everything I do today? Yes, because what you do is kind of I hone my craft now, and I've got some amazing people, mutual friends around us. We've already mentioned one or two of them already, who have achieved greatness and then see something in me too, to make sure that I can now fulfill what my path is. And again, it's new chapters.
So great transition. I wanted to stay away from the X's and O's, if you will, of creating this kind of body that you've done.
Oh, no. How many sets for biceps?
You mentioned your life and the life that you created and the second chapter after bodybuilding. You're a father, you're a husband, you're an entrepreneur. What are you doing? What's your new goal? Like, what's the competition now for you, and what are you doing with it?
I searched for a long time to find that void. There was a massive hole missing in my day-to-day, I guess, that the bodybuilding gave me. you know, that I mentioned earlier, the struggle of getting up, but yet I had the goal, whether it was 12 weeks out or a week out. I knew something was coming. But when I didn't have that, I felt like I was in this hamster wheel of day to day. And yes, there was things coming up and events and stuff like that, but it wasn't something that I was killing myself for. And I think I found it now, and that's public speaking.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
So public speaking is very similar to bodybuilding, where if you don't do the preparation for it, you're just going to look like an idiot up on stage. And it scares me, it excites me, it demands, again, a little bit of soul searching. Because I grew up, again, like I said, dyslexia, speech impairment, I had a crazy lisp.
You did?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it when I'm
No.
speaking, but I've really worked hard to at a young age, I worked hard to get it. I had speech, what do you call it, speech therapist.
Yeah.
So now to find myself on, and also I hated to be up on stage speaking.
Right, in front of people.
And then when I got into bodybuilding, they were like, okay, tell us how you won in a pair of posing trunks, you know? So I think I've gone through the stages of, you know, they say visualize everybody naked on the stage.
Yeah.
Well, I was fucking naked on the stage in a pair of posing trunks.
Yeah.
So I don't think it gets worse than that, right? So now public speaking and getting in front of different audiences that hear the story of where I've come from and being able to relate in some sort of fashion is exciting. So I've got a speaking coach that I hired, Rene Rodriguez, one of the best. He's worked with a lot of different people. And I've spent several different masterminds, traveled around doing different things, and I've had a couple of stages that I've been speaking on now, and it's truly, truly scary and exciting.
It's a new field.
It's a new field, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's happened is because I've put myself all into this new chapter, I'm discovering more about myself again. And I think that's fucking great, right?
Yeah.
Because I found so much out about myself when I was bodybuilding. And I was like, okay, how much more can I dig deep on? But now it's a completely different mindset. And it's how you are able to captivate the audience, tell a story up there, but also it's a message. It's a story, again, that I love talking stories, as you probably can tell. But having a deliverable message that's impacting, again, making sure that everything is aligned and done prior to even walking on that stage. So again, visualizing it, and then delivering it is, it's all in the mind before I even step on that stage. So that's one thing. Obviously, I've got the gyms, the Dragon's Lair, which, you know, I can see John when John turns up.
Love that gym, by the way. I haven't been
Thank
there
you.
since you expanded.
Oh, we got to get you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
For
go after
sure.
this.
For sure.
But the gym was something I never intended to be a gym owner. Never intended. You know, a lot of guys, when they get into bodybuilding, it's like that's their end goal, is to open up a gym eventually.
Right.
The only reason how I found myself in this scenario, and this is, again, life's beautiful twists and turns, I was training in different gyms in South Florida, and they were setting up these meet and greets for me, unbeknownst to me. And I turned in, and there was all these people there. So I ended up going to another gym, something else happened. Basically show and tell. So one day I turned to my wife and I said, I know so many people in the used gym equipment space. When I just get a warehouse and I'm eliminating all the distractions, all the factors that you walk into on a public gym, and create this gym that I can train in and film. So I did. And Boca Raton, obviously, as you know, is not the freaking cheapest place to find a warehouse. But I got all these different gym pieces in, and I hand selected a lot of different things. And over, you know, a period of a couple of weeks, I had everything I needed to win and defend the Olympia title. And then this became something. People found out about this gym in South Florida. And again, no names mentioned, but we had a couple of celebrities that would come in and they would post. And I'm like, and they would drop a pin. And I'm like, oh, don't be dropping pins. And as it progressed, again, I was in that space for 7 years. It turned into what is now known the Dragon's Lair. So what I would do it in camp to keep myself, you know, sharp. I would bring in different athletes from around the world, from the UAE, from Brazil, from Europe. And I would bring these guys in selectively to train in and around me. whether they had something that I didn't have. You know, I mentioned Rafael Brando, young, hungry, genetically gifted kid. But again, what I loved about him was he had, first of all, he was incredibly coachable, but he listened with, you know, bright eyes and bushy tail. You know, he was a sponge, as I was. And I love them guys to be around, not only for the reason where I can now pass forward, pass back, whatever the term is, but also have somebody around me who hasn't won anything yet and is hungry and wants it. It reminds me of I was that guy and I still am that guy.
Right.
So creating that environment to keep your sword sharp was definitely something I'd done different to any other athlete, investing in myself, right? And that gym cost me quite a lot of money to keep. But again, the bigger picture was win, defend, recreate the why, win, defend, recreate the why. And every year I upped the bar because every year, again, as we mentioned, there was a new guy they were promoting. There was a new guy who was coming for the title.
Yeah.
So having these young guys around me kept me on my P's and Q's and allowed me to pass back. But then that gym COVID shut us down, shut obviously the world down. I was still able to train. Didn't post a single thing from there. Still was able to train every single day. Dislocated my freaking thumb in the middle of COVID, by the way, and nobody could put it back in. So I was training with, off the fucking point, but I was training every day thumbless. I couldn't grip anything. Couldn't even open a door handle. So what I had to do is wrap my hand every set so tight that I'd lose all feeling from my hand, and then the guys would put the dumbbells on my hand or at the bar of my hand.
This is crazy.
Just to get me through the sessions, but I wouldn't give in. And also, we didn't post anything, so I wasn't on there saying, "Hey guys, anybody going to therapist in South Florida to pull my thumb out?"
Right.
Nobody was being seen. I had the best Miami Dolphins doctors, and I said to the guys like, "Hey bro, I'll drive up to your house 2 hours away, just to throw my hand through your letterbox." Well, you don't have letterboxes, and we have letterboxes on the doors in the UK. I'll throw my hand through your door. You can stand behind and pop my thumb out. And nobody would do it, but. Off the point, but off the point. Welcome to a podcast of Flex.
It's great.
The Dragon's Den became something, and then during COVID, myself and Ali looked at each other and was like, everybody wants us to open this gym up. And I know I spoke about this on your podcast, we had people sleeping in cars outside the gym waiting for whoever to turn up, whether it was me, whether it was, whatever athlete.
If we would have known you back then, we would have turned up. We were working out on the grass in front of your apartment at the time.
Yeah.
But you were doing it though, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. I didn't want to be like, hey guys, I've got my own private gym. Fuck you.
Right, right.
Because everybody was struggling mentally, physically. Everybody didn't have the gym. They didn't have a lot of things back then. And they were losing a lot of hope, a lot of mentality. Thankfully for me, even with a dislocated thumb, if that's the worst of it, I was still able to train every single day and keep my sanity when everything else around me and the world was just going kaput. So even during that time when everybody else was trying to survive or just hope something was going to happen, me and Ali looked at each other and were like, we got to open up this gym. So we came out to Vegas during COVID. It was wild, as you guys know.
Yeah.
It was like I Am Legend.
Yeah, for sure.
Driving down the
strip was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I've got pictures of Vanessa in full lingerie in the middle of the strip.
I remember that.
Like at midnight and nobody there.
Yeah, well, that's your girl. I'm not even, but I can imagine it was a great shoot. Respectfully.
Yeah.
Vanessa was a great girl. But that's probably one hell of a shoot, I'm sure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Like, it was like crazy.
But we were driving down that, just down that strip.
Yeah.
And me and Ali were like, how many people do you think we'll find by now to the Strat?
Right.
Not one.
No.
Wow.
It was wild, and half the strip was lit on, half the strip wasn't. So it was like the lights are home, but no one's home.
Yeah.
And we both were like, yeah, this is something we need to do. So we came the first time, and then the second time we came out, we found the building we're currently in, and we bought my house sight unseen because things were moving. Sales of houses were going so fast at that point in time. But the gym, we came out here to secure the property of the gym, and the house is secondary.
Wow.
Yeah, and we knew that we were going to build this, and we started building it the tail end of COVID. Thankfully, we had a lot of people who wanted to work. Again, I can probably say it now, right? Legally, I don't know what was allowed to be happening or not.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, with this building, we had everybody literally drive in to the warehouse like Batman, you know, the doors go up. Everybody drove in and then we close the doors behind. And this is what these guys done. They built the tail end of COVID. So as soon as California and Vegas started kind of like, you know, more rules started coming in and the casinos started doing things, then we started telling people, we're like, okay, this gym is opening up. And I told my immediate circle I was moving. And then when I moved, I've got like a little bit of a traveling circus with me of people. So I got a core of people. When I eat, they eat. So they came out with me.
Right.
And then I told my circle I was doing this. Everybody was so excited, blah, blah, blah. And then we kind of told, I say it's like in different categories, another circle. When that circle, they're good friends of mine, but they're don't say anything but.
Right.
And I knew that was going to happen. So then people started hitting me up. Hey, you opening a gym in Vegas? You opening a gym in Vegas? To the point when we did the grand opening, over 100 VIPs came, all paid their own way, all paid their flights, all paid their hotels just to come and support that grand opening. So that obviously now has become a brand in itself, so much so where people come to the Dragon's Lair and don't even know who I am. And that is incredible. That's what I want. When the brand is bigger
than you.
That means that I don't have to be, you know, the face.
Right.
The Dragon's Lair is its own face. I've seen people rocking tank tops and shirts, and I've gone up to them and gone, hey, nice shirt, mate. And they're like, yeah, have you been to this gym? Yeah, it's a great gym. Isn't that great, though?
That's awesome.
So now, with the evolution of where the Dragon's Lair is right now, it's a destination.
Yeah.
And right now, we're looking into other destinations currently, too. So
Awesome.
In Vegas or other places?
just like you.
Oh, wow. Nice. Good.
In places, yeah.
Good.
Am I saying too much here?
No, not at all.
Okay,
no, not
okay.
at all. No.
Yeah, so you and I have a very similar mindset
Yeah.
to things.
Well, maybe we should figure out how to put them be neighbors in all these places.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
The beautiful plan is starting to open up, but destination, John.
Yeah.
We've spoken to a number of different people. Again, this is going to be the evolution of where the Dragon's Lair is. And we've had literally people come to the gym with a blank check and say, hey, I want to franchise this. I want to open up a gym, a Dragon's Lair. And they're telling me the location. And I'm like, it's just not a destination.
It's not right.
No. And if we
Topeka, Kansas. You're like, I'm sorry.
Was it you? You were one of them? No, but nothing. No disrespect to Candace.
No.
But that's the point. It has to be a place where people come to and enjoy. You know, they come to the Strip.
Yeah.
They do the Strip, but then they come and sweat it all off in the gym. Or the complete opposite, where they come to the gym only and they don't even go to the Strip.
Yeah.
That's now what we've got. We've got a mixed bag of tourism. So we have tourism, we're number one tourist destination gym now in the country with day passes. But people literally will come in with their suitcases straight from the airport. And again, they don't even know what they're doing next. They're like, yeah, I'm going to throw my bag in the hotel, but I'm going to come back and do a secondary workout because they want to be just like I was when I came off the plane at 19 years old to Gold's Gym. I would walk from the place that I was staying to the gym and I would live there all day. I would bring all my meals and I would literally just be in the ambience of absorbing all this stuff as a 19-year-old kid because it was genuinely a magazine to me. I would look through the magazines and then I'd be like, oh my God, there's this guy and there's this guy. Again, pre-social media. But that's what I wanted because I experienced that. That's what I wanted to create with the Dragon's Lair. I'm not trying to be Gold's Gym. Gold's Gym, the Mecca is always going to be the Mecca. But I wanted to create something new in Las Vegas where people can come in and truly have the element of seeing all the top pros, the VIPs, you know, the celebrities that train in the gym, but also have a kick-ass gym that they can get the best of themselves out of too. So that's what I created the Dragon's Lair.
Nice.
And there's many other things I'm into as well. So I'm taking way too much time.
No.
Dude, I could sit here and talk to you all day. I mean, this guy's actually I didn't even know you were this good in front of the cameras or whatever and
It's
on
just
the
John.
mic.
John brings the best out of me. Thank you.
You're going to, I'm sure, be a Mount Rushmore of public speaking. It's a natural for this dude.
For sure.
So
he's just so likable, you know, he's so humble and Yeah, you're great to be around.
And I'm gonna try and move into one of those circles. Maybe not the inner circle, but like that outer circle.
You're already here, man.
Thank you so much, man, for your time. I know you got another podcast here at Sticky Paw Studio, but this is the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Congrats, man.
Thank
Congrats.
you.
It's good stuff.
Shake the
It's
hand.
good stuff.
Congrats, John, too.
Yeah,
man.
thank you so much.
Yes.
Guys, like, share. Please share this with other people. Write a review. And until next time, Fit Fam, I'm out.
I like it.